Talk boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest from Tasman Fighters, who has had a lot going on since their partnership with the DAZN streaming platform to air those fights, and what is now a co-promotional deal between Matchroom and Tasman Fighters to co-promote IBF Cruiserweight champion J.O. Pataya. More news on another one of their fighters, Taylor Robertson, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist, is ready to open her brand of boxing to a global arena with anticipated title matchups across the super flyweight division set to be negotiated. The tough Queenslander, Taylor Robertson, looks on track to challenge for world titles before this year is out. Tasman Fighters has a lot going on as it pertains to their fighters, Taylor Robertson being one among them, sporting a professional record of 8 wins with 1 loss, no draws, 2 knockouts. Her lone defeat came at the hands of seasoned veteran Shotgun Shannon O'Connell up there at bantamweight, just 1 division north of where she campaigns now at super flyweight, what I think is a more suitable weight for Taylor. It was ambitious. It was ambitious of Taylor to try and take on Shannon so soon into her pro career. Just a few fights in, it was a competitive loss. You know, Taylor wasn't getting ragdolled by Shannon O'Connell, not necessarily. She just got outworked. Shannon O'Connell just edged it by being the busier fighter of the two. That's what it was. Taylor Robertson still looked very capable in that match, still showed a high ceiling and a lot of ability. She was just biting off more than she could chew in that fight at that particular time. She's 25 years old now, having since rebounded off that loss. That was approximately 5 fights ago, back in 2021. 5 fights ago. 5 fights later, Taylor Robertson is now ready to challenge for a full-fledged alphabet title in the super flyweight division, having since moved down from bantamweight down to super flyweight. It's a better weight for her. Taylor's one of these fighters I often talk about that has successfully made the transition from an amateur style to a pro style, showing a little bit more spite, more mustard on the punches, a little bit more time in the pocket. She's done a good job of developing a more professional style. And I think she has. She had a busy year last year. She fought 3 times last year and has already seen action once, at least once, this year back in March. It's good they're keeping her busy, letting her amass that pro experience. And I think she stands a very good chance of becoming a world champion inside of the next 1 to 2 fights down there at super flyweight, where there are 4 separate champions, 4 separate paths to an alphabet title. Some of these champions are a bit more seasoned than the others. Some of these fights are a bit more dangerous. Dangerous for Taylor Robertson than the others. I'd say the riskiest fight and the riskiest path to an alphabet title has to be the WBC route against WBC champion of Mexico, Ashley Gonzalez. Got a lot more rounds in the bank than Taylor Robertson. More fights, more experience, more knockouts. I'd say that's the riskiest fight for Taylor Robertson. Riskiest path to a world title. The second riskiest fight would have to be against Argentinian champion Maciela Lujan, who's got the IBF. She's got the blue belt. Gets easier as we go down. Relatively speaking, easier than another fight with another champion. I'd give Taylor Robertson decent odds against Argentina's own Clara Lescurat, who holds the WBA title. Only 8 professional bouts. It's about the same as Taylor. I'd give Taylor Robertson decent odds against Clara Lescurat for the WBA. I'd give her decent odds against Mizuki Hiruta, who holds the WBO champion of Japan. Taylor Robertson's best bet to become a world champion in the near future lies opposite the ring Mizuki Hiruta or Clara Lescurat, because they ain't got much more pro experience than she does. That's the way it is. And because Tasman Fighters is now in bed with DAZN, when she does challenge for an alphabet title, we will be able to see it by way of our DAZN subscriptions, if you have one. That also applies to J.O. Pataya's next fight. So it all works out pretty well. They haven't announced who she's going to be fighting yet, though I do get the sense that it's either Mizuki Hiruta or Clara Lescurat that they're looking at. The other 2 champions, those other 2 fights, they're a lot dicier. The last 12 months have been quite productive for Taylor Robertson, who inked a co-promotional deal with Lee Baxter Promotions up there in Canada. Now that Tasman Fighters in Australia has a broadcast deal with DAZN, she's covered. And her path to an alphabet title is set. I look forward to seeing who it is exactly, who it is Taylor is going to be fighting for an alphabet title. We'll keep you posted. In men's welterweight news, the WBA approves a voluntary title defense for Stanionis and removes Virgil Ortiz as the mandatory. It's not likely that Virgil will return to the men's welterweight division. If he returns at all, he will likely return as either a junior middleweight or a middleweight, easier weights for him to make. As far as Stanionis, at least in theory, Stanionis should become the mandatory challenger to the WBA super welterweight title held by Errol Spence Jr., who also holds the WBC and IBF belts. Spence will face WBO titleist Terrence Bud Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship at the end of this month. However, Spence versus Crawford carries a bilateral rematch clause that could further impact the division's awaiting secondary titleists. The likely scenario is that Stanionis will secure a voluntary title fight in the coming weeks, with the WBA to make a hard decision after Spence versus Crawford, particularly if the losing fighter opts to immediately run it back. In my estimation, Errol Spence Jr. will be the losing fighter. And if he loses the fight the way I think he's going to lose the fight, I don't think he activates the rematch clause. In that scenario, Terrence Crawford would be tossed with fighting Stanionis and Jaron Boots Ennis and Alexis Rocha, the winner of a potential Thurman versus Ugas fight. They'd become his mandatories. Stanionis among them. Stanionis, who is managed by Shelley Finkel, has spent nearly his entire career on events branded by the PBC, who will house his next fight and carries a surplus of talent in the men's welterweight division, including Errol Spence. Finding an opponent should not be an issue in that regard, though finding the type of opponent that Stanionis most craves remains the greatest challenge. He hasn't fought in over a year. He hasn't fought since the Radzov-Butaev fight that took place on the undercard of Spence versus Ugas over a year ago. So if the WBA is allowing him a voluntary, you can expect it to be an easy one, a bit of a gimme fight. I don't know, maybe they get him Mario Barrios? He's ranked at number 8 in the WBA's current rank standings. Mario Barrios has no noteworthy wins as either a super lightweight or a welterweight. He never beat anybody good. His claim to fame is getting beat. Maybe Stanionis fights him. There really aren't a lot of nice ways to say that. Then again, I'm not trying to be nice. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to be objective here. Mario Barrios has no signature wins at 140 or 147. So maybe Stanionis goes with him. Maybe he goes with number 6 ranked Gabriel Maestre of Venezuela. This is intended to be a keep busy fight after all. A tune-up fight while he waits. I don't actually think he's going to get the chance to fight the winner of Spence versus Crawford, who, in my estimation, is going to be Terrence Crawford. I don't think Stanionis is going to get that fight, so what's really going on is he's just waiting for the title to go vacant so that he can be elevated to full champion. The same applies to Jaron Boots Ennis. I don't think he's going to get the winner of that fight either. Jaron Ennis, who was in action this past weekend opposite the very durable and game Roman Villa, he beat the fuck out of the guy the way I said he was going to beat the fuck out of the guy. And according to Jaron Boots Ennis, I can make this weight as long as I want. I wasn't sucked down, and I wasn't drained. I figure Stanionis is going to be the next WBA champion. Jaron Boots Ennis, he'll be the next IBF champion. Then maybe, in some months, they can settle up with each other. I can make this weight as long as I want, Ennis said after his 10th round knockout of Roman Villa on Saturday night at the Boardwalk Hall, Adrian Phillips Theater. You know, I weighed 145.5, and I wasn't sucked down, drained. I ate the night before. I woke up Friday morning, drunk some water, and ate a little bit, and you know, I make 47 easy, and I rehydrate back up good, and I be healthy and strong. So it's no problem making 147 for me. Which is encouraging. I've never heard any rumors or gossips about Jaron Ennis struggling to make the weight, struggling to make welterweight, whereas when it comes to Virgil Ortiz, those rumors were around for a while, and they finally came to a head. It's not safe. It's not healthy for Virgil to make that weight anymore, and in many ways, he was Jaron Ennis' biggest competition, Virgil Ortiz. When it comes to him, Ennis expressed concern over Ortiz's health following the latest incident that left Ortiz in the hospital. I hope he gets better, Ennis told BoxingScene.com before he dominated Villa. I wish him luck. His main focus right now should just be getting himself together, you know, getting healthy. I feel like it's serious. I can't say what I would do because I'm not in that situation. But if I was him, my main focus would be getting healthy healthy and not worry about fighting right now, at this moment, and just to get 100%. I feel like maybe he was rushing his recovery. At the end of the day, like I said before, his health is more important than anything. Who knows what the future holds for Virgil Ortiz, but he was widely perceived as Jaron Ennis's biggest competition at this weight, the new line of welterweights, and it appears that Virgil, he's not going to be around, making Jaron Ennis the heir apparent to the welterweight throne, at least in the future. Jaron Ennis, who says, I keep telling everyone, they ain't seen nothing yet. You've only seen like 30 or 40% of me. Jaron Ennis has a solid win over former Canadian Olympian Custio Clayton, more recently Roman Villa. Philadelphia's Ennis estimated after the dominant win that boxing fans and media still haven't seen half of what he is capable of doing in the ring. I got a lot more, man, Ennis stated during his post-fight press conference early Sunday morning following a 10th round knockout of Roman Villa. I keep telling everyone, they ain't seen nothing yet. You only seen 30 to 40% of me. I feel like I really haven't had to go in my bag and really, show my true skill. Really put on a show with Roman Villa. Though I knew that he would. Styles, as they say. Styles making fights. Jaron Ennis has the right style for the job opposite the ring, an aggressive mid-range to inside fighter. More particular to this conversation, a pressure fighter. You don't want to go applying pressure on Jaron Boots Ennis. You don't want to stand in front of that guy. That's why I think he's going to beat Stanionis when the time comes. Jaron Ennis continued, everybody knows I want the main guys. I feel like I'm going to be able to showcase my ability and my talent against those elite level guys. I feel like that'll bring something else out of me. The fast, powerful, versatile Ennis completely controlled the action versus Venezuela's Villa on Saturday night. I think he'd do the same thing to Stanionis. Slight differences between Stanionis and Roman Villa. Stanionis is more of a boxer-puncher than a pressure fighter, though all the same, he does have a mean streak, he is aggressive, and he likes to bang in the booth. He likes to fight in the pocket. When the time comes, should Jaron Ennis and Stanionis meet each other in the ring, it's going to be a question of who's the better boxer-puncher, who's better with that base style. And I think that most people would agree Jaron Ennis has a lot more bells and whistles than Stanionis does. Not saying he's not a solid fighter. He is, but I think he would be outgunned in that fight. Jaron Ennis continued, I told my father I wanted to walk to Roman Villa, and my dad was like, nah, you've got to stick with it. Get back to boxing. And then my team was like, go back to boxing and walk to him later in the fight. So it comes with the game. You've just got to be patient and not rush things. So I'm glad I've got a great team behind me that told me to go back to what I'm doing, boxing, having fun, and let the knockout come. I'd like to see Jaron Ennis get back out there at least one more time before this year is out. There is plenty of time, and it's easy for a fighter to fade into the background, to lose momentum when there are long gaps between fights. When it's been a while since you've seen them, I don't want to wait until next year to see Jaron Boots in action again. And finally, men's lightweight news per a tweet from Michael Benson, the latest on Devin Haney. He's been arrested and booked for felony possession of a concealed weapon as police found a semi-automatic handgun in his car overnight. It was under the driver's seat and Haney wasn't driving, but car was registered to him, released on $35,000 bail. It's not so much that Devin Haney was in possession of a firearm per se, it's that Devin Haney has the kind of resources to where if he wants to get a concealed carry license, he can. To my knowledge, Devin Haney has no criminal history, no priors, nothing that would impede him from going through the proper channels to get himself a concealed carry permit so that he can protect himself. He's a public figure. In this day and age when many prominent hip-hop artists are being gunned down, that it's become a regular occurrence, I can understand why a young public figure, a guy who's got a lot of money, who's known for having a lot of money, might want to protect himself in his day-to-day comings and goings. I mean, I can understand Devin. I get it. It seems that many athletes have a fascination with firearms. From the New York Giants' Plaxico Burress many years ago, guy who ended up shooting himself in the leg, to the more recent situation involving Deontay Wilder and a firearm being found in his vehicle. That situation, that one mirrors this one. It's Devin Haney's right as an American to bear arms. I just don't understand why he didn't go through the proper channels. This news is preliminary news. It's a preliminary story. We don't have all the details here and now. Though to my knowledge, Devin Haney has no criminal history, no priors, so in all likelihood, he'll get off. I mean, he'll get off with a slap on the wrist. I think he will. I mean, it seems like Deontay Wilder's situation, very similar to this one, almost identical. It seems like that's just gone away. It's not impeding his ability to do business or to schedule fights or anything of the sort. So in all likelihood, this is much ado about nothing. Comes to us on the heels of a heated exchange between Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney that played out late yesterday. Teofimo Lopez stated, "Since you were so quick to jump into the mix for my WBO championship belt, let's make the fight happen so the world can see who is about the action. And no, you will not be the A-side. I hold the king title of the division as well, so don't run away, bitch!" To which Devin Haney responded, "Let's do it." Teofimo stated, "I came out of retirement, I guess, because the next move was for Devin to fight sorry-ass Arnold Barboza for my WBO title at 140. Fuck that. I'm tired of helping this kid be something that he's not, and that's a real champion." To which Devin responded, "Yo ho ass never retired in the first place. Let's see if you really want the smoke. I'm gonna be a 140-pound champion regardless. You asked for $20 million the last time my pops talked to you." I do recall, before Teofimo lost the belts to George Kambosos, him and his dad talking to Eddie, asking for something to the tune of $10 million for Devin. Seemed like a lot of money at the time. Still seems like a lot of money here today. Devin Haney says that they asked for 2 times that amount, twice that. 20 mil. It's a lot of money. I want to say that the door is open. I want to say that the ball is now in Devin Haney's court to make the Lopez fight happen. He can. We're about to find out what's what between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. What's what in the sense as far as who really wants the fight, who really wants it. I don't think too much is going to come of this gun possession thing, I don't. I mean, if Gervonta Davis can slam into 4 people in a car that he's not supposed to be driving, get hit with a slap on the wrist, if he can do that... What was it, 3 months jail time? I wouldn't worry too much about this. The focus still is Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez and whether or not that's going to happen.